CG with CG Nation, what's going on, guys? Coming at you with your 10-minute tips. And I got to be honest, I'm super stoked about this one. I think it is one of those things that we subtly all do, and it's probably a reason that we're not seeing the progress that we want to see. Is something that messes us up. It seems right in our mind, and yet at the same time, research is showing that it's actually backfiring on us. So I just want to jump in. Would love to hear your thoughts on this. Let me know what traps you fall into. So the discussion today is about dichotomous thinking. Dichotomous thinking. Now, what is that? Basically, it is the idea of looking at events or circumstances or ideas, things that come into your life, and you're looking at them um, as binary, right? There's two options, there's two outcomes. It's black or white. It's good or bad. It is clean. It is dirty, right? And a lot of times, what we do in this, and that is a real thing. You know, there are things you can look out there that this is objectively wrong, right? Anytime that we see abuse of a child or just whatever it could be, there's not really a gray area, right? It is like that is bad. But what we do a lot of times is we take those kind of moral statements, those kind of moral ways that we assign a value to something, and we put that on us in our nutrition and in our workouts and in so many things like that. And honestly, attaching those right and wrong moral values to these things, guys, it's actually hurting us, right? Like a lot of times you'll hear people say, "Man, carbs are the enemy." Just blanket, just all carbs. Carbs are bad. Well, would you say vegetables are the enemy? Probably not. Would you? So it's like, do people even know what carbs are? And so all of a sudden we just blanket these things and start saying that this whole one group is black or white, it is bad. Or you hear people say that, they tout protein as like the savior and the hero of all things, or that it's awful, or whatever it may be. Kale is going to heal the world. And so whether it's good or bad, we have these very kind of binary ideas, and what's scary is we begin to say, okay, this is right, this is wrong. And what I want to really do today is unpack the psychology behind that, the thinking behind that, because when we do that, you know, all Snickers bars, all donuts, all these things, that when we assign these labels to them, it actually really backfires on us. Because the truth is, everything has a different nutritional value. There are obviously better choices than others, but nutrition is much more nuanced. It's much more complex than good, bad, right, wrong, clean, and dirty. And so the issue is, I'm guilty of this, and I hear people say this all the time. Clint, I'm an all or nothing kind of person. If you tell me I can have carbs, well then I'm just going to go all out. If you tell me I can have some alcohol, well then I'm at a a 20 or whatever it is. And so whatever that looks like, sometimes when we have that in our brains, there are more and more studies coming out that this type of approach, specifically kind of to nutrition, is what I'm looking at. This type of approach, it actually is one of the greatest predictors of weight gain, like gaining your weight back. So you get on this diet, you get super strict, you get dialed in, you're like, I'm all or nothing, all or nothing, all or nothing. Well, it's really good when you're all, but when you're nothing, boom, you're right back in. And so to have this dichotomous thinking, when you're assigning moral values to these things, it's becoming one of the strongest predictors of gaining weight back, becoming more unhealthy, binge eating, even disordered eating. Because what we do is we begin to put things up on a pedestal, whether it's good or bad, and we begin to give it power. Right? We give, and guys, let's be honest, humanity's track record with forbidden fruit, right? We do not do well with forbidden fruit. It's like, don't eat the apple. It's like, I ain't going to eat it. I'm just going to sniff it. I'm not going to eat it. I'm just going to lick it. And then pretty soon we're 7 apples deep, right? That's just how we work. And so what happens are, when you put certain things up on these pedestals as you can't have it, it's evil, it's bad, or this is it, we really give it the power, and it takes over. And you can just see how people succumb and feel powerless when it comes to nutrition. I want you to think about those things. Think about those things that you love, that you crave, but you feel like everybody's telling you you can't. And how powerless does it feel, and how guilty do you feel? How much shame do you feel when you take part in something? And so what I want you to see is that it's the psychology behind it that is it's much more dangerous than having a donut. Much more dangerous than having a donut is the dichotomous thinking behind it, because that's where the guilt and the shame and the binging and all this type of stuff, where we can't kind of create this sustainable life, where there's maybe hills and valleys, but how many of you would say, a lot of times I'm all, I'm nothing. I'm all, I'm nothing. And so there's no traction. There's no real trajectory. There's no real gain, because you're rigid. You're black and white, as opposed to allowing yourself some grace, allowing yourself some flexibility, because this is the deal. When you label something as bad and then you eat it, if you label it as wrong and then you partake, what does that mean about you, right? Well, now I did something bad. I ate something bad. I did something bad. I must be bad, right? I know, not to get all woo-woo on you, but there is this psychology, this underlying rhythm and flow when we do these things that are affecting us so much more. And so what I just want to encourage you with is that obviously moderation is a thing, discipline is a thing, and people knowing how they respond and react to certain things. I get all that. I'm not against it. But what I really want us to do is to take a step back and not being so binary in this thing, in this world of nutrition, especially as you're trying to get healthy. Don't look at it as I'm 100% healthy or I'm zero healthy. I'm eating 100% clean or I'm eating dirt, but to realize that things are a lot more relative, that there is real life involved, and you're going to have birthdays, and you're going to have celebrations, and you're going to be tired, and you're going to have all these different kinds of things. You're going to be rushed. And so what I don't want you to do is put an undue pressure on yourself, put certain foods up on pedestals to where you keep feeling like, man, you're just running into a fail. You're just running into fail. I have success for one day, and then I'm just, boom, I'm knocked back out. Let's try to get away from that and realize that, hey, maybe it's not all good and bad. Maybe there's some ways I can time certain foods. I can prepare. I was talking to one of my nutrition clients just the other day, and her birthday is Friday. Shout out Jill, happy birthday. But look, I'm like, hey, your birthday is Friday. You know what's coming. So don't get all down on yourself and think, well, I can't have cake. I'm doing this nutrition thing. I can't have cake, or I'm going to have to everybody's going to eat cake and I'm going to be sucking on a carrot. That's not what life is. That's not what anybody expects. But hey, if hey, I'm going to have some cake later. I know I may have a glass of wine later. I know this is what I want, what I would enjoy for my birthday. Take that into consideration. Don't beat yourself up. Don't mark it as ugly, bad, wrong, but realize that it's coming. And so maybe maybe for breakfast we don't have the bagel with our eggs and our bacon or whatever. Maybe we go a little bit less carb heavy throughout the day and just say, hey, I'm going to save all my carbs. I'm going to save all that sugar. I'm going to save all of that for later, and I'll be a little bit stricter, in the morning and for lunch. So again, just examples to allow yourself that, hey, there's some ebb and some flow. There's some nuance here, but I want you guys to succeed. And the research is showing just more and more and more that if you hold yourself at these high standards, when you slip hard, you fall, you collapse, as opposed to giving yourself the grace and the freedom to be flexible in your approach to it. And again, make good decisions 80% of the time, 85% of the time, make good decisions, but allow yourself that 15 to 20% grace. That's what's going to see you through. That's what's going to make you successful in life. So, man, I love you guys. I appreciate you. I hope that is helpful. I would love to hear your feedback on what are some foods, what are some things that you're pretty black and white on and maybe have been messing with you. Maybe it's been messing you up. If you resonate with this, man, shoot me a text. Let me know how I can help you guys. If you're interested in nutrition coaching, man, I'm doing that. And, man, we've been having a lot of fun with that one weekend. And so I'd be happy to talk meal plans, grocery lists, any ways I can help you. But, man, love you. Y'all have an amazing day.